Wow. Isn't that something now? Oh, hey there, folks. Welcome on back to the RLCS Midwest Minute. We got some more headlines for you, real quick ones, and I know it's a little bit close to the major time, and it's going to be happening real soon now, but I finally have time and not the sickness in order to get these Regional 3 headlines out for you now. So, we're going to blaze through some real quick once more, courtesy of the Bot Pops on Twitter. Thanks for the headlines, and let's get to these real quick. Okay, so starting off in the SSA region, we had Young Money Clan and Limitless. Those were the two top teams in SSA throughout the entire split, and it all came down to Regional 3. Now, Young Money Clan needed to win the grand finals and not have Limitless make it past the quarterfinals, and as luck would have it, they matched up in the quarterfinals. Now, how does that happen? I don't know, but they did, and it was a great match. Oh, wait a sec. So, Young Money Clan got banned for a year for throwing matches in the Swiss stage. Okay. That means that Limitless gets to go to the major then. And they won for the third time in a row. Now, you can argue that Young Money Clan just wanted to put themselves in the best spot to make it to the major. But if they really wanted to do that, then they should have at least won one of the first two matches that they had against Limitless. They lost both times in the grand finals, the previous two regionals. So, and then you throw in this one that's against competitive integrity. Come on now. Anyways, let's just keep these moving real quick once. Heading on now to the APAC region. Elevate lost to Chapati Dreams in the Swiss stage, but then they clutched it up in the playoffs, winning the entire regional and securing the LAN spot over Game and Gladiators. Now, congrats to those folks over there. LCT making a LAN once more. I believe last time he did it with Game and Gladiators, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me in the comments down below if you want. But then we got Sphinx and Kevin both making their LAN debuts over in APAC. Now, congrats to them. Sphinx, again, basically doing what Zen did. Making his first ever major in his first ever split in the RLCS. Congrats to those folks over there. You know I'll be cheering for them. They're one of my favorite teams over in APAC, and it'll be fun to see how they do over there in the major. So let's keep these headlines moving. Power, once again, in dominant fashion, completely bulldozed through the entire OCE region. Oh my gosh, they got another regional win, completing the Triple Crown. Power had an impressive 63-8 game win record over in OCE throughout the entire split, and they never even dropped a single series. Holy smokes. Cripes all Fridays, my guys. How do you manage to do that? Well, they did it anyways, and it'll be very fun to see them perform out in the major and see how they stack up against the rest of the world, because they can stack up really well against OCE. So we'll see how they face off against some of those, I guess you could say, tougher teams in NA and EU. But let's just keep these headlines moving real quick once. So KCP, they came in second in regional number 3, and they secured that LAN spot over other teams like the Chief Esports Club, Ground Zero Gaming, Kaka's Minions. I think there was a couple others in the contention in that last split, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But Quick Trip Pioneers secured that last spot, so congrats to them. We'll see them at Copenhagen, and let's keep these headlines moving. So we're going to head over to MENA now. Team ROC, they made their first debut this past split, and they got top 8. They got top 8 as 3 14-year-olds. Holy crepes. I tell ya, if that's a team to look out in the future, keep your eyes on those guys. But the Falcons, they once again beat Rule 1, this time sweeping them and ending the split with the 63-11 record. Now, they also didn't drop a single series, just like Power and OCE, but Team Falcons, they did lose 3 more games than Power over in OCE, so who's really the better team in the better region? We'll have to see at LAN. But Rule 1 also secured that second seed for MENA to make it to Copenhagen. So Rule 1 and Team Falcons, they make their way to Copenhagen for MENA, and we'll see how those guys perform over there. Keeping these headlines moving, real quick ones for you now. Heading over to the SAM Regional, Furia and Complexity meet up in the grand finals once again, but this time Furia came out on top 4-2 after sweeping the rest of the playoffs. Now they won 4-0 in the quarters, they won 4-0 in the semifinals, and then they got to match up against Complexity once more, and this time they beat them 4-2. And now I believe, if I put this down correctly, yep, Complexity and Furia secured their LAN spots with that grand finals appearance shown from both of them. So this is kind of an interesting turn of events now, because in the previous season, both of these teams were in NA, competing in NA, and then they both go back to the SAM region, and then they make the major this first time around. So we'll see if the rest of SAM is able to catch up with those two, but for now we got Complexity and Furia making the major for SAM. So now heading on over to the NA Regional, NRG and Rebellion both went 0-3 in the Swiss stage. The old NRG roster of Squishy, Justin, and Garrett G all went down into that 0-2 bracket in the Swiss stage, and the Muffin Men took down Shopify Rebellion to knock Rebellion out 0-3 to further advance Squishy into the Swiss stage for his final ever showing at an RLCS event. And TSM on the other side of the bracket, they 3-0'd the Swiss stage, so a great comeback showing from them. And keeping moving right along, Omelet lost to G2 in a thriller Game 7 series into playoffs now. Now, G2, they kind of took the steam off a little bit this regional, it looked like, because they had such showings against Omelet, who almost took down G2 in the quarterfinals. Now, what an upset that would have been there if they had managed to do that, but G2, they stayed strong and they continue on down the bracket. And once more, SSG lost to Gen G in the quarterfinals, causing them to miss out on Copenhagen. Let's just keep these moving real quick ones. I'm taking too much time. TSM and OG had great top 4 runs. Now, some more bounce back performances from them. TSM missed out on the major, unfortunately, though. But this is a good showing from them for the future and what they can bring in split number 2. Now, let's keep these headlines moving. Gen G, they took down G2 in the grand finals 4-1 to win their first regional, even though Daniel, he did this. What? Who does that? Daniel does, I tell ya. Anyways, even though he did that, Gen G still won, and they secured that regional tree number win, and they are NA's number 2 seed going into Copenhagen. Now, Squishy, he played incredible in his last RLCS event. Battled back after I said before going down 0-2 in the Swiss stage to start. And I'll just let you watch it. I'll just overlay it over me. This was Squishy's last goal.
No matter what peak you're at, we've even seen that out of G2. So Squishy, Gimmick, Aqua all playing forward. Hungry for this 2-1 lead. Squishy from up high gets it done.
Oh, the Wizard does it again from the ceiling. Nast, I don't even know if he had any idea he was there. With 2:15 to go, our last match of the round again.
Just incredible stuff from him. It'll be sad to see him go, but glad he got to have a very fun showing out his last time around now. Okay, so moving right along here, Luminosity, OG, Rule 1, Furia, Complexity, Power, KCP, Elevate, and Limitless all secured major this last regional. And I know once again this RLCS Midwest Minute is coming out really late, but it's coming out now, right before Copenhagen. We'll have another RLCS Midwest Minute coming out either next week, and if not, the week after that, covering the entire Copenhagen LAN. But first, we got one more regional to go through now. Yeah, over here in EU, Top Cougars had one of the hardest Swiss brackets ever, having to face Magnifico and BDS, who they won against, and their reward for doing such things, also having them to face Vitality, Gentlemates, and Oxygen in the Swiss stage. Now, you could argue that those are some of the toughest teams over in EU. EU is pretty stacked towards the top after number 1, which is obviously Karmine Corp. I mean, who's going to touch them? I don't know. Let's keep these headlines moving real quick once. I'm again taking too long. Vitality finally 3-0'd in the Swiss stage, and they got the number 1 seed heading into the playoffs. Redemption, they beat BDS to make top 8. Congratulations to them. We'll see how it turned out for them in the playoffs. Moist had a great top 4 run to end the split, but unfortunately too little too late, as they were eliminated from major contention after Oxygen beat by Vitality. Now, Moist matched up against Redemption and kicked them out of the playoffs, make top 4, and then they had to face Vitality, and they got kicked out, and it would have been a great showing from them. And they possibly could have made Copenhagen if they even made the second regional event, but they didn't. And once again, Karmine Corp are your Triple Crown winners in EU. Now, it's one of the toughest competitions, arguably, over there in EU, and Karmine Corp managing to win the event 3 times in a row, cripes all Fridays. Congratulations to them. Farah once again proving why he is the best coach in the RLCS. But anyways, they beat Magnifico, BDS, and Vitality on their way to that win. And it was just nuts. I mean, Vatira alone now has won his 9th regional in EU, which is the most in EU. Since May of 2023, only 2 teams have won in EU, and that is KC and Vitality. And as I've been saying, those are the teams that Farah has been coaching, and they've been winning, so it's been working out for them quite well. So KC have to win this major to get a perfect split, and they're well on their way to do that. And they could very well do that, and I honestly wouldn't be too surprised if they did manage to do that now. But Gentlemates, BDS, and Vitality all secured their land spot in this previous regional. And yeah, so we'll have to see what happens in Copenhagen in a few days. Thank you all for stopping on by for another RLCS Midwest Minute. I know it's been quite a long minute once more, but hey, that's just how it goes over here in the Midwest sometimes. And I guess apparently according to me all the time now. But tell your folks I says hi, have a great major, and as always, watch out for deer.